When you lock your front door at night, your brain constructs a psychological barrier. You convince yourself that the space inside those walls is entirely your own, but an intrusion dismantles that illusion in stages, and it begins with the first phase, the anomaly. Take the case of a 30-year-old man, home alone at 1 in the morning. Out of the quiet, he hears a voice. It's his sister, distinctly calling his name from downstairs, but she is 20 miles away. He does what anyone would do. He gets out of bed, flips on the hallway light, and makes his way down the stairs to systematically check the rooms. He checks the kitchen, the living room, even the bedrooms, and every single space is entirely empty. At this point, the rational mind searches for an excuse, a trick of the wind, a groggy hallucination. But right after he confirms his sister's bedroom is vacant, he hears a heavy object drop to the floor inside that exact room. The anomaly isn't always auditory. Consider a 14-year-old boy left home alone for the evening. He hears a scrape from the backyard, looks out his second-story bedroom window, and sees an unrecognized man sitting in his deck chair, surrounded by darkness. When spotted, an intruder's reaction should be to flee. Instead, this man looks directly up at the window. His shoulders start heaving up and down. He is laughing so hard he's wheezing, but he refuses to make a single vocal sound. These anomalies break the chain of logic required to respond to a threat. When the physical evidence contradicts what you know to be true, you stop looking for an exit and start looking for an explanation. Eventually, the threat breaches the physical threshold of the home. The escape routes are severed, and the event moves into the second phase, the paralysis. Late on a Friday night, a 10-year-old boy is left alone in his house. His older brother was just hit by a car, and his parents have rushed to the emergency room, leaving him behind to wait. Past midnight, he hears the front door swing open. Assuming his parents have returned, he steps out of his room and looks over the second-floor banister. Standing absolutely still in the dark living room below are 3 tall, unfamiliar figures. When the brain recognizes a threat it cannot outmaneuver or fight, it triggers a total cessation of movement. The boy doesn't scream. He retreats into the bedroom, pulling himself into the smallest corner of a closet behind a wall of boxes. Then the footsteps enter his room. They move directly to his bed. He listens as the intruder slowly pulls back the covers. The footsteps pivot. They walk straight toward the closet. The doorknob turns, the door pulls open, and the child is completely exposed. For 20 seconds, there is dead silence. The intruder simply stands in the open doorway. They do not speak, they do not reach out. They just stand there, suspended in time, before turning around and leaving the room. The paralysis phase strips away all human agency. Your survival instinct is reduced to nothing but helpless anticipation. The outcome is no longer in your hands. It is decided entirely by the person standing over you. The final barrier collapses when the threat moves into the spaces we consider sacred. A 23-year-old man playing basketball in his driveway looks up to see a strange woman staring out from his own second-story window. He runs inside and conducts a frantic, exhaustive search of every single room and closet. He finds absolutely nothing. Left with no physical evidence, his mind deploys its final defense mechanism, rationalization. He convinces himself he imagined the woman, locks the doors, and gets into bed. But as he begins to drift off to sleep, the rationalization shatters. Over the hum of the ceiling fan, he hears a distinct, human sound. And it is coming from the opposite side of his mattress. He turns his head. The stranger wasn't gone. She had been inside his room the entire time, and she is now crawling out from underneath his bed. When an intrusion penetrates this deeply, the unresolved details of the event linger. You are left wondering who dropped the object in the empty bedroom, or why the man on the deck was laughing silently in the dark. You look back at the 10-year-old boy in the closet. The intruder didn't stand there for 20 seconds because he failed to see the child. He stood there specifically so the boy would know he was seen. The intrusion ends when the police arrive or the intruder leaves, but the damage remains in the architecture. Every floorboard creak or shifting shadow becomes a reminder that the perimeter was once meaningless. You lose the ability to be truly alive.